Good morning, everyone. Lesley Myrick here, interior designer and business coach with Nancy Quinn. And today is Website Wisdom Wednesday, which is quite the delicious mouthful. We've got Teresa Schlup here from Caffeine Creative. Happy Wednesday, Teresa.
Happy Wednesday to you. I'm so excited to be here with you again, always.
I love, like, I'm a website nerd. I know that I don't know everything and I know just enough to be dangerous. And I love getting to learn from you. And full disclosure, before we went live, we get in a little rant session sometimes about websites and web design and the way people approach things. So I'm excited to hear what you have to say. Today, we're talking about templates versus custom websites. I love this topic because I think there's a vibe out there that, like, if you've made it, if you're a success, you should have a fully custom website and it's going to cost many thousands, as it should, many thousands or tens of thousands of dollars. And like templates are like, oh, okay, that's just for like the beginners. Like, no.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to hear your thoughts. Templates versus custom website. What is best for interior designers?
So it really depends on where you're at, honestly, in business. There are times and occasions when a fully customized website is necessary.
Yep.
But for the most part, that isn't until you are very, very well established as an agency and you have a lot of moving parts in your website. Most can honestly start with a template. And I want to say with templates, I want to take away some of the poo-poo ideas of templates. They have this idea of this clunky looking piece of garbage that just doesn't look fabulous. But templates can really be powerful and they don't have to be a DIY situation. A lot of web designers, myself included, actually start with templates a lot of times.
Okay.
Because we've got a solid basis, a solid foundation that we can go in, customize it to look like you with your branding, your images, your fonts, those kind of things. So even though the basic structure is very similar to everyone else's, it's going to have your look and feel, and it's going to have a much lower price tag than custom. When I do a custom design, the approach is to give a design that looks fresh, unique, different, but also clearly communicate what somebody is doing, what they're doing in the world. It can't just have something that is like a big old splash picture that has people saying, what is that? What, and so to do that, to come up with something fresh, unique, and different, think about this. How many thousands or millions of websites are out there? Fresh is hard. Fresh is a challenge.
And fresh isn't always the best idea.
And most people don't want to look unique and different. They think they do. Okay. And they sit there and they stress and they struggle and they worry about this font and that font and all of the things. And they think they want to be different. But when it comes to the basic structure of a website, they really want to look normal and they want to have a website that is recognizable and easy to navigate. And a template is going to get you there.
I just thought of a comparison. Like if you think of a template, let's talk about a living room. A living room is probably going to have some sort of template where you are doing a sofa and 2 chairs and a rug and a coffee table and an end table. And a living room I design with that basic layout, with that template, is going to look completely different than someone who leans more traditional or more modern or this or that. So like, if you want to go and be like, my living rooms are going to be totally different, and you've just got like 6 footstools and like a sculpture, that's a pretty crappy living room. Like it's okay to have a formula, a template to get you started.
And that is a perfect analogy, because that is what a template is going to provide, is a solid formula. Another value to templates is that when they're well designed and you're working with a company or somebody that offers a really well designed one, it's been tested to work well with mobile responsiveness. It's been tested to work well with phones and iPads and all of those things. It also is giving you ideas and suggestions that we know are going to work well when it comes to communicating who you are, what you do, and how to market your business. And so it's got a lot of the pre-work done already for you. And then you or your web designer can come in and make it unique. Like you said, with that living room, come in and bring in the accessories that are all you and nobody else. The right font, the right colors, the images of your work alone, especially for interior designers, the images of your work, or even stock images that represent the work you want to do. If you're very new and don't have a portfolio, that is going to speak volumes above the template itself. when it's implemented really well.
So a template, like I think what we're getting at here is it is a great starting point for many designers, especially newer designers, but even if you're quite established, if that simple classic structure of like homepage, about page, services, blog, contact works for you, you may not need a fully custom site, and you can make this a much more affordable investment and still get the help of someone like Teresa to customize that living room floor plan in your style. But okay, so when is a custom website best for an interior designer? Like what point in your career or business or whatever might you consider not having that template as a starting point and really building something fully custom from scratch?
So when you've reached a point in your business to where you need more of a custom unit or experience on the website itself. And like one example that I have is I have a client who has a fabulous website, NC Design Associates. She has a quiz that guides people through getting in touch with her to connect with her to do a discovery call. Okay. So maybe they're interested in an apartment remodel. She's in Chicago. Maybe they're interested in an apartment remodel. There's a quiz on that page that is going to guide through getting the answers and helping them start envisioning working with her, the costs and things like that. They can go through and nobody knows it's a quiz, but that's the technical aspect behind it.
That's interesting. Okay.
It's a questionnaire that asks specific questions based on apartment remodel. And then says, okay, now we've got details about what you're thinking. Submit this contact form and let's get in touch and schedule a time to chat. And so there's this customized experience for these clients that are getting to her. And that is an incredible value.
I haven't heard of that before.
Yeah. So that is a place where custom is really, really different.
I want to point out too, before you move on, Teresa, is that kind of intake process is going to be a barrier to entry. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but if you're a newer designer and you want to get more people in the door, a custom quiz questionnaire that takes people time and energy to fill out is not the right idea. But what you said,
not at all.
A designer who's established, who's probably up here with her clientele,
yes,
wants to probably have a little bit more gatekeeping around getting to her. I love that. Like if you're at that certain point where you are busy and you're charging a lot and all is well, you don't want to field every inquiry that comes in. So that custom aspect of a website can really work to your advantage. It sets you apart. And it's actually a really great, not actually, of course it is, like you wouldn't have done this if it wasn't. It's a really great tool to pre-qualify clients before they get on the phone with you. But
again, for the newbie designers, for most of the people who are turning in here today, that is not the approach you want to do. If you are a newbie designer, the quicker and easier it is to get in touch with you is the best way to fill your pipeline, because it's you that people are going to start hiring. You don't have a reputation yet. You don't have a well-established business yet. You don't have a robust portfolio to show off everything. So you've got to make it simple and easy. So that's why I'm saying most people, until you are hitting this higher level established position, you don't need that custom piece.
Yeah. Oh, that's fascinating. I love that as an example of what you would do with custom. What else have you seen or done with a true custom website that has been unique and valuable for the designer? And I know people would never, I shouldn't say never. I hope people would do it like just to be different, because that's not necessarily a great place to do it. But where else would someone really want a true custom part or whole website? Like what else would work well?
I will say this. A large majority need a template. And that's when I bill out, like sometimes, I mean, I do let people know I'm starting with a template, but I always start with a template quote price unless it's something very specific.
Yeah.
If you are offering intensive courses online, and this is a little bit out of the interior design field, but I connected with a yoga studio who does a lot of online courses. Okay.
Yeah.
That is something, because they are connecting, they're building discussion boards, they're doing all these things. If you have a private discussion board, course delivery, those kind of things, that's a great place for customization. I have one client, and I almost hesitate to say this because a lot of people are like, oh, that's who I want to be, but you really don't. You really don't. Okay. I have one client, her clientele is very, very exclusive and very, very private. and they like the idea. The custom design fits for her because it gives a feeling of exclusivity that
appeals
attracts
to that
her
target market.
Right. Right.
Yes.
And so it works for her, but I don't want people thinking, well, that's what I want to be. That's what you may want to strive for.
Yes.
Right now, you got to get people in the door. You've got to get people in your pipeline. You've got to get a portfolio that speaks for itself. And so that is why I'm going to say, consider the template route.
Mhm.
And when it comes to, I do want to talk a little bit about DIY templates
I
because
love
that's
that. I was going to ask
another
that
thing.
question because it
We had
seems
a
easy.
question the other day in the
Yeah.
forum. Somebody was like, what do I do? Where do I go? What, what it is. If you were looking to DIY your website, I want to give you a couple things to consider. First of all, the best platform I would say for DIY and the most affordable is going to be Squarespace.
Okay.
Don't DIY a WordPress site, okay?
Unless you're me and you're the weirdo who loves it. But in general, yeah, WordPress is a beast. I agree. Squarespace designers have a lot of success and be able to get something simple and sleek and professional very quickly on Squarespace.
You are going to pull your hair out if you try to DIY a WordPress site.
Yes,
and unless you were just really that techie nerdy. And if you're really that techie nerdy, maybe you should be a web designer and not an interior designer. So,
yeah.
But I would say don't go to WordPress. And I'm not a fan of Wix myself either. Like there's some good Wix websites out there, but Wix tends to be a little bit clunky. Mm-hmm. And if you're not comfortable with having to stay in tune with your website and you just want to set it and forget it, Squarespace is going to be your best option. And then selecting a template. Here's the trouble that I find and why I recommend getting a designer who works with templates like myself or Robin. She has a template program as well. Working with a designer, they're going to know how to make your content work with the template. Mm-hmm. When you're DIYing it, you are going to be trying to squish your content into a template, and you're not going to know the tweaks and changes that you can do to customize that template to make it work for you. Mm-hmm. And so I've seen people actually create new service offerings because the template had a spot for one.
Yeah, you can't build your business around a website template. That website
cannot build your business model around a website template. And so they wound up having this website that really didn't represent who they wanted to be, but they didn't know their way around it. And so when you work with a designer who does templates and has templates available, then you are able to get those customizations a lot more quickly.
I love that, Teresa, because I think people have this feeling like, oh, a template isn't good enough, or it's halfway, or it's like, I want to make sure that I can invest in a full custom website. But like you said earlier, most designers don't actually need that. And I like this as sort of an accessible midpoint where, yes, there's still an investment. You're hiring a talented professional and expert, but it's not even close to what a full custom site would be. You still get that customized, beautiful, functional look, and you don't have to waste your time and pull your hair out DIYing it yourself.
That's just it. And, granted, sometimes you have more time than money, and I get wanting to do the DIY approach. I 100% do. You and I have talked about that. There
is a time in your business where it makes sense. You got to bootstrap it sometimes. We fully acknowledge that. Mm-hmm. But there's also a time where that holds you back from bringing in more money to be able to outsource things, to be able to focus on more of what you love as a designer.
And in all honesty, when you think about the time and energy you're putting in trying to figure out this technology and make it work, I have a lady, I did a template design for her in Squarespace a few years back, and she had spent 3 weeks not being able to work her business because she was staying up late and exhausting herself trying to make this template work. And it just, it was a nightmare. And I took the template and went in and fixed everything in a day.
Worth every penny.
So, and right. And there's a lot of, designers who are not going to charge you $1 million. You can get a really solid website, especially if you go the template route, for a lot less money than people think.
I know this is maybe a bit dangerous. You don't have to answer if it's not appropriate. Is there a range you would expect to see people investing in a templated? And of course, there's going to be levels. I understand that. But as a ballpark, I don't think people have any concept of what a website costs. Like if someone came to you and said, I started a new business, I want a semi-custom, templated website, what ballpark are we playing in here?
I would say for a good, well-done template, it's going to start at about $3,000.
Okay. That
Okay.
that's
Yep.
not a bad
And
idea.
then some web designers like myself, I actually allow people to do a 1-year payment plan because you get me for a full year anyway. And
I
so
love
we're working together for a year. So that makes it a little bit more affordable. But I would say you can get a solid one. And I've looked at some other companies that have templates that you can purchase, or they'll implement the template for you.
yeah.
And these are companies that I think are really solid, good companies, especially in the Squarespace.
Mhm.
WordPress, I don't know that I would purchase a WordPress template.
No.
Period. I just wouldn't do it. But when it comes to Squarespace, especially, I'd say you're looking at around $3,000 for a good,
Yeah.
solid website that is going to take care of you and support you for a while. And it's going to be a platform that you can update and grow with you and your business. As your business is growing, you
Yeah.
can shift and change it and really get it into play to where it's gonna take care of you for a while. So
I love
it
that.
is a big investment. I get it, but it's an investment that is going to pay for itself more so than a lot of business investments that I have seen out there.
Well, and if you're an interior designer, I'm just doing quick math and I'm bad at math, so correct me if I get this wrong. If you're a designer and say you're charging $100 an hour, that's what, 30 hours to get to 3,000. Could you do your entire website start to finish with everything proper in 30 hours? I'm going to guess the answer is no for most people. Like 30 hours is fast. And you could be spending that 30 hours out there making 100, 150, $200 an hour and know that your website's being done right. And I say this as someone who I use bookkeeping as an example. There was one month where my books were off. This is when I was DIYing it. And it took
Yeah.
me 12 hours, 12 hours, Teresa, to go through. And I realize now I did it really stupidly. That's how much time it took me to fix this problem and get everything done. And that's when I went, oh my gosh, if I had billed out 12 hours, I could afford a bookkeeper for the next 6 months. What the hell am I doing here? Trying to do
Right.
this
Well,
myself.
same.
Yeah.
Myself to go to sales tags. Like I used to pull my hair out trying to figure this out and do all the nuances. And my lady takes care of it. And like the hours it takes me to try and figure all that stuff out to file my sales tax every other month.
Yeah.
Like I pay her and she just does it. I'm like, here you go, Jackie. You're amazing. Thank you. And that's the end of it. And I don't have to stress and worry. I'm with you on the bookkeeping too. I farm out a lot of my financial aspects of it because I don't want to struggle with that.
No, and for most people, I think a website falls in the same category, and it's really easy to do it poorly and not show up well in search results, not have your images be optimized, make your website slow. There are so many, even someone like I know enough to be dangerous. I still hire a tech guy every few years to sort of do an audit and clean
Mhm.
things up because
Well,
I don't know everything.
and that brings me up to something else. A lot of people, especially with Squarespace, will say, "I can build a website for you." And I just helped a person a couple of months ago who had their VA build their website, who said, "Oh, I could build one for you, no problem." The website was so heavy because
Yes.
the images were not optimized. I mean, like it was bad that her website couldn't even be indexed.
Yes, and this is important. Like these terms might not be familiar
And
to you, but just know if your website won't load and Google can't index it, nobody is finding you on the
nobody
internet.
is finding you. And that person, while they could put together a beautiful template in Squarespace and it's a beautiful website from appearances, it's a website that's doing her no good whatsoever. And it wasn't supporting her at all.
Yeah.
So there's a value in working with somebody who doesn't just say, I can build a website, but that actually understands the ins and outs and how to do it really, really well.
Absolutely. Well, we hear the struggle all the time from designers and our Profit Insiders coaching programs. And I'm so grateful that we have people like Teresa in our world that are very designer friendly and helpful. And I love this just sort of affirmation that it's okay to have a templated website. It's not a bad thing. It's actually a great starting point and it's suitable for most designers. So if your website's been one of those like, I can't afford that, that's way up here, reach out to Teresa. She's at caffeinecreative.io and she's a fantastic resource. Will help you get the website you need and not something fancy schmancy you don't. That is just fancy for the sake of being fancy.
Right. Exactly. Yes.
All right.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Teresa. You know, I'm very passionate about this topic. So I'm so glad that you were here. You'll be back again next month and we will talk about all things website.